Welcome to the Women Unleashed podcast. I am your co-founder, Britt Furlanis. Today, we have the beautiful Emma Baker, a feminine mentor, with us to have a wonderful conversation that I have been desiring to share. Emma, thank you. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, such an honor, babe.
Thanks for accepting my invitation. And I believe the last time our listeners heard from you was in our last episode a little over 5 months ago. Thank you for coming back today to listen. And yeah, let's dive on in, shall we?
Tell me the pressing moment, babe. What is on your heart?
Well, feeling a little bit nervous and vulnerable to have this conversation, and I desire to really, really have it as well. So a bit over 4.5 months ago, I separated from my fiance, and we were together for 5 years and engaged for a year and a half, actually. And the grieving process, the grieving of an intimate relationship is what I want to talk about today. Because
Can I just cheekily jump in and ask you to share with us, because I feel like this is something that so many, it's vulnerable to expose these parts, right? Like of our lives, of our relationships, especially as feminine women. It's like our heart and love is just at the core of our lives and our priorities. But I would love for you to share, because you shared that it feels vulnerable. Why? In this moment?
Because I am exposing parts of myself and talking about things that I have been through and in this experience in the last 4 months. And I also know that I'm going to cry today, and I put my makeup on knowing that I'm going to cry today and be really proud of that. I can feel my eyes welling up already.
Yeah.
So does that answer your question?
Yeah. I just think it's just, that vulnerability is something that keeps so many women from being seen in these conversations. And it's just, I just honor your courage to even just be in this moment and sharing that it's vulnerable and moving past that. You know what I mean? It's so honorable to share these things that are vulnerable in the moment, not just when it's fully past.
Yes. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And one of my intentions for this episode is that the women who listen to this, and even the men, the young girls, is to get that grieving an intimate relationship is an opportunity.
Yeah.
For so many reasons.
Tell us about some of those opportunities.
Yes. So I guess I'll start with what I distinctly remember saying to myself at the beginning of the separation, which was, and thanks to the work that we've been doing together for the last year, I was like, okay, there's gonna be grief, we were together for 5 years. I really love this person, and there's going to be grief, and that usually involves emotions, and I want to feel it all. So bring it on. I have no idea what that looks like. I have experienced loss in my life before, and that experience has just been okay, I've cried for a bit, and then I kind of toughened up and moved on with life. And now I'm in a fortunate place in my life where I can give myself the space required. So I feel like I've absolutely honored myself and felt everything that there is to feel. And my capacity to experience emotions has grown through this process.
And was that something when you were going to go through or knew that the breakup was happening? Was that something that you saw prior? Was it something you realized after? Was it I have the opportunity right now to connect to myself deeper emotionally and choose this? After you're wow, look what's happened through that.
It was about a month ago. I knew that I was going to that on the other side of this, I will have grown. I just had
Yeah.
no idea in what way. So
Mm.
ago, it was really present for me that my range of emotions that I could experience had expanded. I
Mm.
felt a lot more spaciousness within myself. And with that spaciousness comes a whole lot of like calm and peace and joy, love and fulfillment that I get to now experience like a lot more and in the moment.
Mm.
I often, almost daily, feel my eyes welling up. You know, that sting, that initial sting when the tears enter your eyes is like, I often feel that now. Like, and it's so beautiful. And I feel gratitude for that experience on top of whatever it is that I am feeling at that moment. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, and I wish everyone to experience grief just as much as I want them to experience love and joy and peace. It's just such a beautiful process. So
Well,
yeah.
it's often, I think something that stops people from making decisions like breaking up when they know it's time. And I know for myself, it's reasons why I've kind of put it off is because we're not afraid of the action, we're afraid of how we're going to feel doing it. So it's like I can imagine your listeners hearing you say that and being like, what would happen if instead of realizing it after, I could accept that that was going to be a big part, but not resist it because of the feeling. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you've just nailed what it is that we get to give away to people through
Yeah.
having this conversation. Yeah, absolutely. And I'd like to acknowledge her name's Margarita Nazarenko. I listened to her book
Oh,
called
yeah.
Being Her. Yeah, and I follow her on social media. And when I asked you to record this episode, I was like, well, why? Like, what's driving that? And then she was like, whatever we get, like we get to give it away,
Mm,
like that's our gift, is we get to share these beautiful things that we discover
yeah.
for ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm, I love that.
Yes. So another thing I wanted to share was a post that made a big difference to me probably a couple of months that I started in to this process. And then we'll go through kind of like the different things that I did or what happened and whatever. Um, Again, I'm going to acknowledge someone else. Her name's Ashley Milland. Had never followed her, but somebody else shared it on their story. And this really encompasses my experience of it. So it says, I'm starting to believe that maybe the true gift is the whole human experience.
Mm,
The highs, the lows, the
mm,
depth of love and grief,
mm,
holding on and letting go. Because what a blessing to be able to say, I once lived on earth and felt it all.
mm, mm. I love that. And I also love that, you've used that in your journey of relating, not as something that can hold you back, but something of like acceptance. Because I think that sometimes people in relationships stay and create even more grief for themselves or even more pain or even more suffering, where their soul is like, you would suffer less if you moved on, but it's like you've used that as a catalyst to kind of like not be afraid of the deep human experience of breakup, but also, follow your heart.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely. Aw. Is there anything else that's there for you about that?
I reflect back to the moments of like being in relationship myself, to the relationships that I knew weren't it for me. And I just know that one of the greatest things that kept me there were just like this acceptance of, it's like, yes, and it's like hard at times, or yes, and there's grief at times, and yes, and I'm like, I reckon a pro processor, but stuck in processing, stuck in processing, stuck in processing, and calling it the human experience. So it's just so cool you reading that and being like, two people could read that. One could use it as an excuse to suffer more, and one could be like, okay, time to move on and accept the fullness of what that will bring. But yeah, in relationships, I would use that as if I read that and I was in a relationship back in the day, I would be like, yeah, see, in this relationship, it's not going to be all great. But really, my soul was like, leave, like, leave, you know?
Yeah.
So it's,
Yeah. I did the same thing, you know,
did
before
you?
before even being aware of this. Absolutely. You know, I would have used it as like a fuel for my like martyrdom.
Yeah,
But what was really true for me was that this wasn't like I
yeah,
wasn't living my
yeah,
truth in this
yeah,
relationship.
yeah. How did you know that?
It felt too hard.
Yeah,
Like, and I'm not saying like there are people who know me intimately and that
yeah,
relationship and like it felt too hard and it didn't feel aligned. Like
yeah.
I just knew I wasn't putting myself first. And I don't know where this belief came from, but I have a belief that I'm now practicing daily. But I have a belief that when you put yourself first and your goals and dreams and desires for your life, when you make that number one, then the rest of which you want for your life will happen. I just wasn't willing to try it out until I was like, you know, I just wasn't willing to try it out until I was. And yeah, I can't remember where I was going to go with that, but yeah. All right. So, with that like train of thought, putting myself first, I was like, okay, where am I going to live? Which is often a huge barrier to women leaving.
Yeah, yeah,
And I was very fortunate that friends of mine who live on a beautiful, massive horse property, they accepted my request to come and live with them. It was just like, okay, this is so right. This like because I want to put myself and like putting myself first is being around horses, riding lots more horses, training, coaching, like that's where we got to go. So I was like, well, what better place to live than on a property whose business it is, breaking, training, retraining, etc.
yes,
Like,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
get to live here. Amazing. Um, so that was the first step I took. And I honestly felt so safe. Like I could land here. It's such a beautiful space. You'll probably hear horses neighing on the podcast because, you know, the window's wide open and the horse is probably, I don't know, 30, 40 meters from the window. So that's what it looked like to put myself first. And then what what started happening was I I just feel sad, you know, and instead of putting a time limit on that, I would just let myself feel sad and tuned into what I felt like I needed in those moments. So if I was at home, I would like if I need to sit down, I just sit down or lay in bed and not like lay in bed and go to sleep, but like lay on the bed and hold myself, you know, like just really kind of comfort myself, you know, hold my neck, hold my shoulders, just whatever felt comforting in those moments. And that allowed me to go into more of whatever that experience was, like that feeling. And I could relax and drop, like feel into that and just felt so beautiful, you know, like I did that a lot, you know, going to bed, you know, feeling lonely. Oh my God, so much loneliness. But, you know, and I was bulimic for 10 years because I didn't want to go to bed because I felt lonely. Like, and just to do that and just go, okay, well, this must be part of it. I'm going to feel it. I've got the courage to do that. Whatever bodily experience goes on, we can do that.
Mm.
And something else that was I had an understanding of before the separation, which really helped, you know, going into it, was I knew that I was going to have withdrawals from the relationship, like from a chemical, psychological perspective. Like I've been used to getting these hits of dopamine and whatever feel good emotions, and also not feel good emotions. Like, because I often felt like a lot of like regret or tension, a bit of like not scared of that person, but a bit of scared kind of in the situation. So I knew that even if I was feeling missing or feeling lonely or feeling sad, that none of that meant that I wanted to go back to that person. It was it was just normal that I was having withdrawals.
And how often do people go back? Because they're like, I really want this person, or I really need this person, or I need to hear from them. And it's like, this means that I'm meant to message them, or I'm meant to call them, or I'm meant to see them, or I'm meant to try and get back with them. Yeah, that is such a potent message. And I think that honestly speaks to so much in life. It's like, just because we want something doesn't mean it's good for us. Or just because we're chemically desiring something doesn't mean that it's necessary. Because how many women, connect to that place and then call it a desire? It's like, I desire this, I'm feeling like I want it. And it's like, and then there's this empowered movement for women. So it's like, be empowered in your desires. And then all of a sudden we're following this thread of relationships that aren't aligned and health that isn't aligned and all these things. So I just think that's such a potent piece to mention, what you just mentioned, because that really does relay with life.
Absolutely. Like, I want to bookmark this point as a point of gratitude that I have for what I learned from my ex partner.
Yeah.
Like, I learned a lot about how the brain works and addiction. And I was already interested in learning about habits and addiction prior to the relationship because I dealt with bulimic, but like I got a lot more depth from him throughout that relationship. So again, feeling so much gratitude for those learnings and I recommend it. And they say usually women like prep to leave 6 to 12 months before they actually leave. So if you do notice that you are prepping, like there's absolutely nothing wrong, like get it, and learn. Like The Power of Habit is an amazing book. Atomic Habits, amazing. They'll help you just like get that your experience right now is a withdrawal from all of those feel good chemicals that you got from being with that person.
And I feel like there's also such an important piece, like you said, it's like women take 6 to 12 months. For me personally, it's like what I've realized after breakups, like I'm with my forever man now. But prior, I really realized that I shamed that process up until my last breakup. And then I realized in my last breakup I went through that actually it was because I was becoming the woman that was healing so much within myself. And so because I had that awareness of not, because so many people I'd process with or share with my experience would absolutely be giving me advice to like leave far before I did. But I actually really needed the sovereign process to get what I was meant to get from that relationship. So then it didn't play out again. So had the awareness that possibly there was going to be a breakup, but also I had a deeper awareness that I was still being asked to stay and to trust it. And if I would have listened to so many other people, and not let myself have that process, I would not have healed. And I have so much gratitude for that relationship, even, within the process of healing and choosing to leave over time because of what it taught me and gave me and healed within me. So I think that process isn't something that's a negative thing. I think a woman needs to sovereignly be like, I'm complete here. And of course, if there's, I'm going to leave it there because, but I think that awareness is important of like, I'm sovereign, I'm here, I'm choosing to be here. But if I'm not feeling like I'm choosing to be here, but I'm still here, then I think that is something to look at, because then we can get
Mm,
into, abusive situations or really toxic situations if you're not like, I'm choosing this, It's like, I'm not
yeah.
choosing this. Why am I
Yes.
here?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Something really cool that happened because I had so much, I guess, awareness through this process. There was like someone that came along that you could say it was like a rebound fling. And I'd never understood what really a rebound was until this experience. And it was like me just yearning for that attention. And once I'd gotten it and sat in it for a bit, I was like, I saw all this truth around what it was I was getting out of the interaction,
Yeah.
which was like enjoying the attention, but not
Yeah.
actually desiring to be with that person.
How did you navigate that?
Pretty simple, like communication.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And it took like a few times of me going, actually, no, like this is not, I'm not desiring this. Like I really do enjoy the attention, but
For the
yeah,
women
like,
or men even listening, how did you
mm,
decipher the difference between, I'm just here because I'm getting this attention, and I think that's a really powerful
yes,
thing to hear.
yeah,
How did you
yeah.
know the
So
difference?
I already had the like picture of my, call it my dream man or the ideal man that I was going to be with. This person looked nothing like it. And I was like, okay, I noticed within myself, I was like, I'm not attracted to them. So why do I keep coming back? What is that about?
Mm,
And once, pro tip, ask yourself the question. Like when you notice something, like me asking myself the question, like, okay, I notice that I'm not attracted to this person, but why do I keep going back? Because I keep getting like these
yeah.
feel goody things. What is that about? So I asked myself that question and I was like, it came to me that it was like I was enjoying the attention,
Mm,
but I wasn't attracted to them. And I was like, okay, well, based on me aligning with who I want to be with, it's someone that I'm, like one of the elements is I want to be physically attracted to the person. That's not happening here. So you need to honor yourself and like shut this down. But it was, yeah, so that's how I handled it. And it was just
mm,
really cool to see this is what a rebound looks like. This is how, people
mm,
end up in those situations. And
mm,
I
mm.
noticed that I was like also trying to convince myself that like I was attracted to this person. And I was like, oh, that feels yuck, like
Mm.
gross. Like, so yeah.
Thanks for sharing. It's powerful.
You're welcome. And then, like a couple of weeks after, this was super raw. Hey, like 2 or 3 weeks after I found out that at the beginning, 2 or 3 weeks after the beginning of the separation, I found out that my mentor and coach for my physical and mental training was, had like 2 weeks left to live. Yeah. And he was 92. And honestly, that rocked me so much. Like, I was like, oh my God, I've lost one man in my life and now I'm losing another. And, I just found myself like walking across the paddock crying like uncontrollably. And because I just didn't expect it. I wasn't ready for it.
Yeah.
And I also realized I was like, okay, I've got to have faith. Like he's going because I can handle myself. Like I'm ready.
Yeah.
I can do this. Honestly, like I'd never cried so like what's the word? Spontaneously in my life. Like it would just come out, and which again I just allowed myself to do. And then I could just go and be with him, spend time with him and just enjoy him. And yeah, I actually do. Like I just still love him so much and I miss him and I absolutely
Mm,
adore what he's given to me in my life.
mm.
But yeah, that was like another grieving process, another thing to grieve, like on top of what I was already grieving. And I feel proud of myself for
Yeah.
believing that I could do that I could hold that at the same time. Yeah.
And what are you feeling right now about sharing that? Like, what are you realizing and what are you feeling about that part of your journey?
peace. Yeah. And yeah, peace, happiness. Like, yeah.
But just in this moment, like those tears came up, what was that?
Yeah. Oh, that was like, a missing, like a just like
Yeah.
I love him, missed
Yeah.
him and miss him. And he, like, I just didn't expect him to go so soon. We were 2 years into our relationship of coaching and mentoring. And when we
Yeah.
first met, he was like, I've got 10 years in me. So I had to like let go of, like, initially I was a bit like, fuck, you said you had
Yeah.
10. You gave me 2. Like, I wasn't ready. Like, this is shit.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
dare you? All of that, none of that was like felt true to me. It was just me being so devastated
Yeah.
that he was leaving.
That would have been just such a big experience for you to, like you said, go through the breakup and not have that masculine presence around, and then for him to pass as well. What do you feel like that created for you and yourself? Like that time, do you feel like it made you stronger? Do you feel like it softened your
Yeah.
heart? Like what was your experience in that?
It strengthened my belief in myself because I knew that he wouldn't go if I wasn't ready. Like,
Yeah.
and I knew that the universe wouldn't let this happen if I wasn't ready. So it was like, you good, Britt. Like, you got this, and just keep feeling it all, darling. Like, keep
Yeah.
going in.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think what this speaks to is that often when things like this happen, life keeps happening and more grief could happen. Other
Yeah.
people close to you could leave or pass away, and you might think that this is a lot, right? This is already a lot, and you just can't fight it. I couldn't fight it. I was like, I just have to keep crying, like, and massive
Yeah.
booger cries, like, just so much crying.
Yeah. And I think that, so many, and I know myself as well, had relationships that I just, struggled breaking up with, or feared the breakup, or struggled in the breakup because I just felt like I wasn't going to cope, and it's like you say, it's just like, it's when you think you can't cope is when you're being built to cope. And that's literally how we get stronger, is by, and strength by the means, I don't mean strong as in, women turning empowered and being all independent to do everything themselves, but it's like the strength to follow where you're called to go. And that takes so much strength because, that path is really unknown a lot of the time. So
Yeah,
it's like that kind of moments that build the strength. It's like, okay, I can stay here, like you said, and not go back to what I've been through before.
yeah, I got stronger by being softer.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and by being softer, it's like, okay, feeling what there is to feel, going into that experience, not resisting it.
Yeah. Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
I love that. What a powerful thing to say. I got stronger by getting softer.
Yeah, so cool. Hey. All
True.
right. Something I want to share about now is I've actually coined the term in preparation for this podcast. It's something I'm so
Yeah.
proud of. It's called a car concert. I will. Living where I live, it's about an hour 20 drive from Brisbane. And my family is still in Brisbane. I do business there. I have meetings there. My favorite gym is still there. So,
Really? Wow.
yeah.
You drive to the gym there. Do you go to the gym there?
Yeah, I don't go to the gym like as in like normal people go 3 times a
Yeah.
week to the gym there. After my competition season ended, I found myself in December going there on the weekends and
Yeah.
sort of doing a workout, and then they have a restoration zone. So I would get my workout in. I would,
Function well. Yeah.
yeah, Function Well. Yes, shout out to Function Well. They're so
Yeah, yeah,
awesome.
yeah. It's such a good gym.
Yeah, like I would do all the restoration activities there and also my networking there because you're just in the magnesium pool chatting. And I was like, oh, I still get so much value from this membership, even if
Yeah.
I was to come once or twice a fortnight.
Yeah. Mm. So
So
tell us what happens in the
I
car.
yeah, so I was doing a lot of driving, right? And a couple of things would happen. Like before I would start driving, I would know like a tune would pop into my head. I wouldn't necessarily know the name of the song. So sometimes I'd have to sing to Shazam to find the song.
Can you give us an example?
Walking in Memphis.
Yeah.
And I favorited a few of the songs. Actually, there was one I had no idea of the name of it. Oh, like I Love You Always Forever by Donna Lewis.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had to sing that, whatever popped into my head.
Oh, I love the
Yeah.
visuals.
Yeah. So I would get in the car, I'd play the song, and I'd start singing, and like pretty soon I'd be crying and singing.
Mm.
And another song would pop into my head, or Spotify's AI generative, randomness would just play the next song, and I'd be like, oh, keep crying, like,
Oh, yeah.
and it would just keep coming and coming and coming. And I'm still driving safely, like I'm super aware of the road, but I'm just like, whoa,
Yeah.
just and after doing this for a while, and this would happen with like sad, cry emotions just as much as it would happen with like anger. I'd get in the car and I'd like just
Yeah.
scream, like shout, hold the steering wheel really tight, say whatever expletives I needed to say.
Mm.
And sometimes, like, I wouldn't have a song when I'd get in the car in my head, but I would just get in the car. And what I realized was the vibration from driving that
Mm.
I could feel on my seat and my
Yeah.
back, that vibration actually would kind of encourage and
Motion.
bring out the emotion. And there's science, well, I don't technically know if there's science, but there's studies done with women who have like had foster children. They've fostered them and they've just sort of like patted their bottoms. And those babies and young kids who had their bottoms patted, which again I learnt from my ex, amazing, they turned out a lot better in life than the
Uh-huh.
children that hadn't had their bottoms patted, because
Oh,
that rhythmic kind of pat, or like the vibration from the car, for me, like actually allowed them to feel and experience and bring to the surface these emotions.
mm.
So there I am belting it out in the car, and a few things would happen. Like if it was anger, I'm just like screaming and letting it out, and then I kind of felt like, oh, okay, like I've, like a balloon that's kind of been deflated. That okay, I've let that out.
Mm.
Other times, a certain song would come on, and I'd play it on repeat like for 5 or 6 goes, and there would be a certain frequency that my body was searching for, and as soon as I sung it, I knew what it was, and I would just go full ball at that note
Yeah.
pitch frequency part of the chorus.
Oh,
And I could hear and feel like this sort of like resonance happening within my mouth and within my head and my body.
yeah. Wow.
So I did a lot of healing and
Yeah.
grieving that way, like so
Yeah.
much.
I think it's such a, the way I experience emotion is it really helped when I started working with surrender, like maybe 7 years ago, like really deep surrender work. And I used to be like, okay. And I remember I was on the mat one time feeling my emotions, and I actually heard the words like, let your emotions feel you. And so it was like this experience of like when we have emotion that comes up, what does it look like for us not to try and feel that emotion, but like you did, like let that emotion take over and lead? and like feel and feel and feel until it's processed. Because sometimes when we try and like drive it from the mind and not just let the frequency play out or let the emotion come through, it's like we don't actually fully access it. But instead, I'm just like, and I just guide my clients being a somatic therapist. It's like, let your emotions feel you. If you got grief there, let it lead. Let it feel you rather than you try and feel it, because sometimes then we just play in the mind trying to access something.
Yeah, absolutely. And about the mind, like I just didn't judge whatever was coming through.
Yeah. Yeah.
And often after I could identify then what it was.
Yeah.
Whoa, that was sorrow. Holy shit. Like I've never felt sorrow before. Like how cool is that?
Yeah. Oh, you're so cute. Just the way you said that, it's just like I could just feel like I lived the moment of you being like, whoa, like, yeah, but true. It's just like when you let it and you don't judge it, like there's so much there. So I have a question. Do you feel like it was because the relationship you were in wasn't like necessarily aligned for you anymore? That was the reason why you couldn't access as much emotion and like that, like you were partly suppressed? Or do you feel like it was because you, like, how you said like you transformed in the process? Is that because you were no longer in a relationship that wasn't aligned and you felt safe to, or you think it was just because you went through a breakup and that those emotions did that?
Okay, I'm just going to make sure I got the question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is the question, do I think that I felt that I was suppressed in the relationship as to why I couldn't feel emotions, or was it the breakup that I then allowed myself to feel the emotions? Is that
Well,
the
do
question?
you think the breakup was the catalyst, or like not being in a relationship anymore? So the breakup being the healing process and those emotions coming
Yeah.
through, or because I know for me, when I've been in relationships that weren't necessarily aligned, I was a lot more suppressed in myself, and so it was more that I was in a relationship that wasn't aligned. That, and I'm not saying it was the other person's fault. It's that when you don't feel fully like aligned, so much gets suppressed.
Yes. Yeah. Well, like I think it was both.
Yeah.
Like, and for their own merits.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I would struggle to be myself. Like I would project my internal experience on the person nearest to me.
Yeah.
And now, since being on my
Yeah.
own,
Yeah.
I can identify it's my own experience, it's my own
Yeah.
feeling, etc. And that is what there is for me to continue to work on and develop, is when I am in my next
Yeah.
relationship. And it happens every day with the people around me, is to identify, okay, that's my experience. Like,
It's like judgment. So it's like I'm
yeah.
judging. This is my judgment of the experience and not necessarily the capital T truth to it.
Sorry, say more about that.
So it's like when I'm in a judgment, right, and I'm having my experience, which means I'm judging the experience, really. Like, everything's a judgment, right? And good, bad judgments. It's just like an experience is a judgment of something. It's from the mind. Like we observe it, right? And then being in a relationship, like how we then move into another relationship and take responsibility for that, is going, okay, this is the judgment I'm having of this experience, right? Like this is the judgment I have, right? Maybe you didn't call me, which means I could project that on and not actually take responsibility for it and be like, you didn't call me, which means, to me, that means you don't love me. Or I could be like, okay, you didn't call me, and the judgment I have is that you don't love me.
Yeah. And
You know what I
even
mean? So it's like,
yes,
yeah.
yeah. I absolutely get what you're saying. And what I'm learning to do and practicing is, and I feel like I'm getting a lot better at it, is noticing when, regardless of like what happens, like, because nothing could have happened, but I am having like I'm feeling sad, and it's got nothing to do with anybody else. But in my relationship, my past one, I would, because that person was around a lot, I would
Yeah.
kind of look to try and like understand why, maybe like project it onto them. Whereas
Yeah.
I'm getting really good at just going, okay, I'm feeling sad. Like, cool. Let's just sit in, like, let's just let that be. And it's got nothing to do with anybody else. It's just my own. And
So powerful.
and I'm getting better at being comfortable being around other people whilst I'm sad.
Yeah. And bringing that in.
Yeah. Yeah. And sharing it, like people be like, oh, how are you? I'm like, well, just sad,
Yes. Oh, that's so powerful, because so many disconnect, which creates such a lack of intimacy, and then feel alone even with people. Then we walk away and the cup's empty. It's like, oh, that person doesn't fill my cup. It's like, no, you're not being honest about what you're not really exposing intimacy. So of course we're always lonely if we don't do that. And that's something that I really struggled with, was like, I just felt like so many communities didn't see me or didn't love me, or even in relationship. And it's like what you were saying about, your capacity to feel your emotions and just be honest with them is how we access intimacy in relationships. Because if we don't expose the things, we don't feel, which means we're always alone.
Yes. Yep.
So I love that.
And the other day I was feeling a bit disconnected from myself, and I was like, oh, what does loving myself really look like, And I could feel some kind of resistance in my body. So I asked myself that question. I was like, okay, you've asked yourself this question before. You feel like you've discovered it, but now you're asking yourself again. And then I had this, these feelings, these experiences, and just let myself feel them. And then what came out of that was like, experiencing my emotions is loving myself.
Yes. Oh.
Because I just feel so connected to who I am and my capacity and my humanness. Like that is what is so loving, is experiencing your own humanness and getting your humanness and your feminine humanness. Like, holy shit. That, oh my gosh, I love myself for that. I love myself so much.
Yes. I resonate, because I actually first started to experience loving myself when I just was in acceptance of my feminine body. Like, I feel sadness. I'm confusing to the world. Like, there's like, when I started to really just be with the process of my exposing how I really feel, and I started to really accept judgments and insecurities and fears and stories, and started to just come home to that and just be with that and not judge it. I was like, whoa, this is what love feels like. Like, I actually love myself. Whereas when I was trying to like perform or mask or be better, or, constantly
push past,
numb to be regulated in front of people, it's just like I just did not feel love for myself. So that's so potent, because I actually fully relate.
Yeah, beautiful. That's like drop all the mics moment,
Yeah, that's the full love. That's just full self-love, is just emotions and your capacity to just both what you shared, feel them, and also be honest with them. So powerful, babe. Ladies, take that away. Take it with you.
And we're not done yet. I am so pumped to keep sharing this.
Yeah.
I would like to acknowledge you, Emma, because throughout this process I have been in a container program with you that you're leading, and those sort of fortnightly group calls and having the support like in between has been so instrumental in just like lighting me up, getting me to remember, like, you're here, girl, like you're on the right path, like opening me up. And that is just, it's divine. If if you're in a separation, like get yourself around good people, get yourself around people. Like, there's good people that will support you, but then there's like, if it's a mentor or a psychologist or whatever, just have people empower you through that. Yeah.
It's been such an honor,
So thank
babe. You're so welcome. So welcome.
Something else that I really want to dive into, because I don't feel fully that I've grasped what had happened, but I'll share it. And I think it happened a month ago. So at that point, actually, side note, a good friend said to me at the beginning of my separation, he's like, how long were you together for? I was like, 5 years. He's like, okay, cool. You've got 15 months to be over your relationship. And my first reaction was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, and then I was like, all right, well, I guess we better get started. And so at about the 3-month in process, that's 1 year of the relationship, I felt a lot of spaciousness, and I felt this whirring, burning, like insistent agitation kind of in my chest. And I was like, that's familiar. And it's not grief from my relationship. Because I've been feeling that, and that's been feeling different to what this is now. This has been around a lot longer. Like, I felt this when I was 17, 18 and not wanting to go to bed at night because I felt lonely, and then started binge eating. And so that in itself was like, whoa, this is cool, you know, like I can see the difference between these experiences. Yeah. Then I started inquiring further. Okay, like, what is this really? And the answers kept coming, and it ended up being generational trauma. So it was from my nana, and like heartbreak over something that happened in her life. And the experience of it initially was what I would do when I was bulimic was I would eat. So like I just was like, whoa, I have this burning urge to eat, and it's fucking strong, you know, like so strong that I was driving from Brisbane back to home, and I stopped off like at 2 petrol stations and maybe like a Macca's or something, and got like snacks along the way, you know. And I was like, okay, Britt, it must be huge. Like this must be really big.
Yeah.
Like that you've got some awareness that you're doing this right now, but this is big. Like you're really struggling to kind of hold this right now. So don't beat yourself up. Just kind of, you know, like just be okay. You'll be okay. And it was on that drive, sort of 2/3 of the way through that drive, that I was like, okay, this is, I know what this event is. I know what this trauma is. And it was so late by the time I got home. I was exhausted from like feeling the resistance of that all day, and like the eating and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, just go to bed. It was like midnight. Go to bed, wake up. You're going to journal, and then you're going to go for a drive. I woke up like sort of half sat up in the bed, had the journal there, and just what was coming out was like, you know, all the shit that like you wish you could have said when you were angry.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like all of that, pages and pages. And I was like writing on every second line, you know, like really spacing it out, one side of each page only. You know, I was just like going for it. Did that until I felt empty and there was nothing left. And then I took myself for the drive. I drove for an hour north of where I live. And again, there was like anger, and that was coming out of my mouth was like, just, you know, why did you do this to me? Like just really heartbreak, anger, sadness, getting all of it out. There was some music, there was silence. And then I was like, okay, cool. I think we can turn around now. So found a place on the highway to, you know, turn around, and took myself to the beach. And at the beach, I wrote this beautiful letter from my nana to her ex-husband. And it was just, it was so beautiful. It was just like so compassionate and loving to them both. And it was as if I was my nana writing it to him.
Yeah. Wow.
It was so beautiful. And when I finished that letter, I sat on the beach for a bit, and then I just dissolved it in the water and let it go.
Oh, grief is such a portal for transformation, isn't it? And like how much you've acted through it. Wow.
And I feel like because that grief it was like resentment. What's that other word? Contempt, like for men, because it was about, her ex-husband and letting that go. Oh my God. Like it just lifted so much weight off my shoulders.
Yeah.
And not since have I ever experienced that intensity of emotion or familiarity of that same emotion. I'm like, fuck, this has been around since I first was aware of it, since I was like 16, 17.
Wow.
Like, and it's not here anymore. How amazing.
Yeah. I think it's so powerful, if ladies and whoever watches this can write down the questions that you ask yourself so that they can start to explore in this way. Like there's just so much gold here of how to navigate that journey just because of what you've done and the questions you've asked yourself and just how deep it can take you, Wow. Wow.
Yeah, so
No
cool.
wonder you become this woman. And you know what?
Yeah.
What really stands out to me too is just like the level of integrity you've had with yourself to really hold your emotions, be with your process, ask the questions with yourself, lean in, have a mentor. Like, it's like we can desire those things, but it takes so much courage to choose those things. Not just to have the breakup, but to choose the transformation through it. Not just feel the emotions, but to fully let them be accessed, to journal, to decide, to. And I just think that that's such a beautiful thing and a reminder for people that when there are processes like this, like get the support, choose the deep work, choose the reflection, because look at you now. Of course, there's always going to be a journey, and our emotions, like you said, it's such a journey of self-love, just being with them whenever they want to arise. But look at what you've become through that, all of this goal.
Absolutely. And I was following no handbook. The
No.
only thing I knew was I just needed to feel. So
Yeah.
anything I could do to feel and express, I was going to go towards.
Yeah.
And if, like, I'm just one human being on this planet, and I believe that we've really got to tune in with what's true for us in that moment. So, when you're listening to this, don't jump into the mind and go, oh, it's got to look like what Britt's looked like.
Yeah, well, mine's
Just
completely in my breakups generally, especially my last one. I was like, oh, I just got no more grief to cry because I cried so much in the relationship, so much frustration. And as soon as I left, I was like, oh, I'm so happy and like peaceful. It was like I
wow.
needed this, like, and I left, and it
Yeah.
was not much grieving. Definitely still
Oh,
healing, in ways, of course, but not about the relationship, just the impact of it, if that makes sense, which I consciously was a part of. But that was definitely still a healing and a process, but it wasn't getting through the breakup. I was like, good. Yeah, I was ready
there you
on a
go.
soul
Yeah.
level. So like you said, it's like different for everyone. You just don't know, but at least you've got that experience. And the thing is that, I could have thought that it was going to be so scary, but really it was actually the easiest thing for me once I made the decision. Sometimes it's the decision that's the scariest part, but then you never know, like you said, what you're going to experience on the other side. You just got to trust it.
Yes. Yeah. And in those first couple of weeks or a month, it could be quite intense. Like I
Yeah.
was not, it wasn't that I separated and then I was just like, could just be with my emotions. It was like I separated and I had to deal with some real world shit
Yeah.
in those first couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And that was fucking uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And as well as trying to feel what there was to feel,
Yeah.
But I also could feel that I was like, okay, this won't last for long. I just need to do these couple of hard things
Mm.
and then we'll be okay. So
Yeah.
yes, it's definitely different. Different for
Mm.
everyone. I feel like we're coming towards the end.
You just put just gold nugget after gold nugget, and also just honoring you, babe, to like bring this into the light for yourself because I just feel like it's so healing as well, just to speak and be heard in these. But also, you've shared so much that people can take away and they impact their lives so much.
Yay. Thank you. You're so welcome. Yeah, I
There
feel
anything
safe.
like, say for example, someone, okay, I got a question. If someone was about to go through a breakup, they knew that it was coming, or they're going through one currently right now, man or woman, what's alive for you right now to give them, like, what's the advice you'd give them right now that's alive for you to share?
Just feel it.
Yeah.
Like whatever it is, just feel it. Like go towards it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There you
And
have
I have not just felt lots of like sad emotions, or what the general term would be like negative emotions. I don't relate to them as negative.
Yeah.
But I also felt a lot of high or higher frequency emotions as well. So don't be surprised that as you feel super, super low, you also, because your range is expanding, you can now also feel
Yeah.
super, super high too, like bliss. And I think bliss is definitely been like coming through for me.
Mm.
And there's no reason why you can't feel that, because there's just beauty in every single day.
Yes. Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, my love. Is there anything that you would like to give our beautiful people for their wherever they're at right now in relationship?
I just wish, being a woman, that I used to see through the lens before of like, it's been so helpful having a child, and it's like, if you are a woman that's desiring to have a relationship and you haven't yet got children, when you get into relationships, like, or you're in a relationship, be like, is this, would I want this for my child? And I think that
Mm,
innocence of our feminine body is such a powerful gauge to navigate, because there is such an innocence for us as humans to experience in relationship. And I think choosing the right one is a difference between experiencing that and still living that out. Like, you see a child love and there is like no filter. It's like when we're safe to be in relationship because it's aligned. Not that the person's always
mm,
safe, but the relationship is. That's when I just think it's a really true thing that we crave that, like the innocence of just loving. And I think for me, my truth is now that I think relationship is sacrificing myself as a wife. Like, I'm now moving into wife territory, and I'm like, actually, but choosing the right person that you'd sacrifice yourself to, right? It's like, but I think that in that singledom era is so important to choose yourself fully, like choosing that. And then from that lens, choosing a partner that you'd sacrifice yourself for. And not from a sense of
mm,
codependency, but from a sense of, as a submissive, I believe in submission as a wife and as a
mm,
relationship dynamic, not from a sense of, not from what so many people perceive it to be, but just a sense that I'm the neck and a man's a head. He makes decisions, and I'm very much intuitive and direct those decisions to be made in what's best for the family, what's best for the home, what's best, because we have that connection to life. And I just think that in that, there's so much sacrifice as a woman. So choose the right person that you sacrifice yourself for. It's always going to
And
feel that way because we trust that level of trust. We're
yeah,
sacrificing that level of independence for that level of trust. So
yes.
it's really important that we make the right ones. And same with men.
And I feel that people can get caught up on trying to make the right decision, because, like, the right thing is,
Yeah.
it's like, what is that? And I would wholeheartedly encourage men and women to do the masculine, feminine
Yeah.
work,
Yeah.
because that's what it has allowed me to
Yeah.
feel into and distinguish and discern
Mm,
what's truth, what's misalignment, what, do you know
me
what I
too.
mean? Otherwise, you're going to be stuck with, okay, I want to choose the right one. How do I choose the right one? Like, what is that? And we could talk for hours around that,
I
but
know.
I've learned so much about what my experience can be
Yeah.
with a man and what I desire that to be with a man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely do that work.
Yeah. Agreed. And keep doing it forever. I just keep going.
Yeah, it never stops, right? Like we're just constantly growing as human beings, I feel like.
And for me, it's just like, it's not even polarity, it's instinctual. It's just like biologically we're different as women than men. Men have different gifts than we have. And when we go into relationship, like seeing those as such a deep collaboration, but choosing them so that relationships can be healthy. I just think that without it, it's like no relationship could be healthy.
All right, my love. I feel we've arrived at the end.
My mom going, Mom.
Yeah, I can hear her. But look,
Yeah.
I thank you. I deeply honor you. Thank you for everyone for listening. It's been such an honor to share this conversation with you. Please just, if you resonate, like share it with your girlfriends. It's just, this is so good. I just think it'll keep going for generations, this kind of goodness.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah. Alrighties. Bye for now.